Flock Nation, did you catch what John Harbaugh just said? There's something brewing. Out of nowhere, the Ravens head coach drops a line that sounds chill at first, but if you listen closely, it's a bomb waiting to explode. And Ravens fans already get it. There's movement behind the scenes, and nobody saw it coming. This could be the kind of move that completely changes the defense and puts Baltimore on a whole new level this season. What's crazy is that it's happening right now, in the quiet of the offseason when everything seems calm. But if you know the Ravens, you know they make their biggest moves when no one's paying attention. And when Harbaugh drops a hint like that, you better believe something big is about to go down. But hold up. Before jumping to conclusions, you need the full picture. There are big names out there on the market, gaps in the roster, and a Ravens history of making exactly these kinds of sneaky, clutch moves. If this piece falls into place, it could be what finally pushes this team past the Chiefs and all the way to the Super Bowl. So hang tight, because I'm about to break it all down from what Harbaugh said to who's on the radar right now. And right in the middle of it all, a potential shakeup that could flip the Ravens defense on its head. Let's be real for a sec. John Harbaugh isn't the type to give away secrets easily, but this time, he slipped up and gave us something important. When asked about possibly adding another veteran cornerback, he threw out a classic line. I'm happy with what we have, but the door is never closed. Translation? He trusts his current squad, but is keeping an ear out for any good opportunities. And if you followed this team long enough, you know when Harbaugh says that, there's activity behind the scenes. They might be more active than you think. This is classic Raven style. No rush, but always alert. They like to watch the market quietly and only pull the trigger when the right opportunity comes along. What's interesting here is that Harbaugh didn't talk about replacing anyone. He made it clear it's not or, it's and. That means the goal isn't cut anyone out, but to make the rotation stronger. NFL fans know a deep secondary can save an entire season. This kind of vision is what separates good teams from real title contenders. Harbaugh knows the NFL season is a marathon. Injuries happen, and relying only on starters is way too risky. So if there's a veteran out there who's still got it and can step in right away, why not go for it? Remember, this team has Super Bowl aspirations. Details matter. And having an extra piece on defense could be the difference maker come January. Now, why is this talk heating up so much? Because there are two huge names out there available, and if one of them lands in Baltimore, it changes the whole secondary game. And that's when things get serious. Imagine this. You turn on the TV and see Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in the league over the past few years. Suddenly a free agent. On the other side, you have Jalen Ramsey, an all-pro who's still playing at a high level when healthy, potentially on the trade block. This doesn't happen every day. These two guys can completely flip a defense on its head. And when names like this pop up, teams serious about winning start moving. Baltimore is definitely one of those teams. And with Harbaugh hinting he's open, you can't help but connect the dots. The wild part? Both still have plenty of gas left in the tank. Alexander, despite some ups and downs, remains a cornerback who's tough to beat one-on-one. And Ramsey? He's that guy you put on the top WR and sleep easy. The big question, of course, is the price. But you know the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. If these guys are available at a price that fits Baltimore's budget, don't be shocked if the Ravens try to swoop in, especially if it's a short-term deal, like prove you're still elite and we'll pay you later. And here's something the Ravens do better than most. Finding value in players the league might be sleeping on. They love picking up veterans who've been overlooked and putting them in a spot to shine. Remember Marcus Peters? Or Clowney? With Baltimore's discipline and system, guys like that often find their groove again fast. Just imagine pairing Jalen Ramsey or Jair Alexander alongside Marlon Humphrey and Chidobe Awuzie. You might be looking at one of the best secondaries in the NFL. But before we get too hyped, remember who's already on this roster. The Ravens aren't desperate by any means. They've got strong, promising players back there already. And that's what makes this conversation even more interesting. The Ravens aren't lacking cornerbacks. Far from it. They've got a solid foundation. Awuzie brings experience and consistency. Nate Wiggins looks like the kind of rookie who'll contribute right away. And Humphrey is the heart of the secondary, likely sliding into the slot more this year. That's a trio with real potential. But here's the big question. If someone gets hurt, and injuries happen a lot, who steps up? The depth behind them is still a big question mark. There are guys fighting for snaps. Sure, Jalen Armour-Davis is promising, but has struggled with injuries and consistency. Rookie T.J. Tampa has talent, but still needs to prove he can keep up with the NFL pace. And the rookies Bilo Cone and Robert Longerbeam, sixth-round picks who might surprise, or might not even see the field. Bottom line, the top of the rotation is solid, but the backups? That's a big we'll see. In a league that's getting more pass-heavy every year, with offenses flying and quarterbacks testing your secondary constantly, you can't rely on just 3 good corners. You need 5 or 6 guys ready to step in and keep the level high. That's what separates teams that survive the grind from those who fall apart when injuries hit starters. The Ravens know this well. They've been through it before. And with a tough schedule ahead, they can't afford to take that risk again. So when Harbaugh talks about checking out everything that's on the waiver wire, he's not just talking. This is Raven philosophy in action. And when that kicks in, things behind the scenes start to get interesting.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video. But before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
If there's one thing Baltimore knows how to do, it's moving quietly and landing key players nobody else wanted. They're not the type to get caught up in a wild bidding war for stars. They wait. They analyze. They let the price drop. Then, when no one's paying attention, BM, contract signed, new player on the squad, and everyone's left wondering, how did nobody see this coming? This is pure Ravens DNA. Look at the recent track record. Marcus Peters got traded for practically nothing and became a defensive cornerstone. Kyle Van Noy joined mid-season and ended up a full-time starter. Even Clowney, who seemed past his prime, landed here and had one of his best seasons ever. Baltimore bets on context. They know certain players just click once they're in the right system. With Harbaugh calling the shots and Mike McDonald dialing in the defense, the stage is set for that magic to happen again. And it's not just about talent. These guys bring the mindset, playoff experience, knowing how to perform under pressure. That kind of presence helps rookies develop faster and gives the whole team confidence. Adding a guy like Ramsey to the locker room changes the vibe. It sends a message. This team isn't just playing around, they're all in. And that's why any move now, no matter how small it looks, could turn into a game changer down the stretch. But here's the question. If the Ravens are already well built, why shake things up? What's really at stake with this possible signing? That's the key point that brings everything home. Talking about adding a veteran cornerback isn't just about filling a roster spot. It's about being ready for anything. The Ravens know the difference between winning and losing in the playoffs is razor thin. A single blown coverage, one poorly matched up receiver, and the game flips. Having an experienced player in the secondary isn't luxury. It's smart preparation. When the season gets intense, only teams with depth and nerves of steel survive. Baltimore can't afford to repeat past mistakes. They've seen firsthand what happens when a key piece goes missing at the worst time. Against the Chiefs, every detail mattered. A boost in the secondary, even if it seems minor now, could be what swings a conference final, especially with a tough schedule coming up. The defense has to be ready to stop elite quarterbacks week after week, and that means versatility, quick reads, and experienced players on the field. A veteran who's been there, done that brings exactly that. And there's more. Strengthening the defense takes pressure off the offense. If you lock down the opponent's passing game, you force turnovers, create more possessions, and give Lamar more breathing room. That balance is what every Super Bowl contender needs. And Baltimore is close. One smart move in the secondary might be the final push to turn potential into a championship. This isn't about luxury. It's strategy. If you want to battle the AFC's best in January, you have to be bulletproof. And if the Ravens truly want to change their story this year, they can't let this chance slip by. The Ravens are showing they won't leave anything to chance. Harbaugh is open to adding a veteran corner who can make a difference, sending a clear message that this team wants to be ready for the toughest challenges. That's a mindset of winners, not just competitors. Bringing in an experienced player might be exactly what this defense needs, adding depth and consistency when it counts most. In football, these details matter. They can flip close playoff games on their head. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these veteran corners on the market do you think would help the Ravens take it to the next level? Or do you think this team is already set as is? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because when this fan base speaks together, it makes a difference. This community lives and breathes passion and vision. One thing's clear. This offseason could hold more surprises, and every move will be crucial for the Ravens' future. The season's coming fast, and only the team that's truly ready will go all the way.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.